Hi everybody, Debra Dickinson here and Bandit here. We are going to talk today a little bit about aging, brain injury, dementia, and Alzheimer's, and what the heck they all have in common, and what in the heck does that have to do with a Happy New Year? Stay tuned. I am 65 years old and I have a traumatic brain injury. It isn't always the easiest thing to deal with, but at 50, let's see, what was it? I think it was 55, so 10 years ago, I cognitively tested at the age of 78. When you're 55 years old, that's not something you want to hear. And now that I'm older, I'm realizing that my brain injury and my age are starting to catch up with each other. And I have symptoms and experience a lot of things that a lot of us go through. And I want to talk about that today. And I'm going to be speaking about Alzheimer's because I know people that have Alzheimer's, including my sister, who is 16 years older than me. And I am seeing a lot of the things that we have in common. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Let me put him down because he's getting restless. Okay, we all have the phenomenon of walking into a room and going, what the heck did I come in here for? Or you've tried to find your glasses and they're on your head. I've been known to have 3 pair of glasses on my head, sunglasses and 2 other pair. And it happens to all of us from time to time. For me, with my brain injury, those symptoms and more are on steroids. But I want to share with you because I really truly believe that barring some illnesses, there are some things that we just can't do anything about. But I want to share with you how I have decided to live life large and happy no matter what. And I have a slogan, KOKO NMWODAT, keep on keeping on no matter what, one day at a time. And I really try to live that. And so many of us right now, I know my friends and family, and we're all about the same age and experiencing a lot of the same things. You know, you go to look for those glasses for a day or 2, or you go open up a drawer or a cabinet or something and you find something there that you're like, when did I put that there? And you'd been looking for it for a long time, and it can be scary. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time visiting about that today because I recently had another setback and I have a new normal to get used to. And you can hear the shakiness in my voice, and I'm fighting back the tears because it's never fun. We're all getting older. We're losing people fast that we're close to, family members, friends, people in the media, people we grew up with, actors and actresses. We're just at that age. And it can be easy, especially this time of year, to let that get to us, or at least me. Let me speak for myself. And to also maybe throw in the towel, maybe not completely, but I don't know about you. But with all of my symptoms and the things I'm going to discuss today, it's easy to say, no, I'm canceling that appointment. With my new normal that I'm going to have to learn to live with for the rest of my life, evidently, I'll share more about that in a minute. It would be easy for me to say I'm not going to do any more social activities. I thought about it actually. I spent a few days thinking about how do I want to live through this new normal? What do I want my life to look like? And I have decided that I'm not going to give into it. And I've already come up with some new tools to deal with it. And so I want to share that with you. And I want you to share with me in the comments below what you're going through with the whole aging process. A lot of people that follow me, you either have some cognitive disabilities, maybe you've been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, and you're at the point where you can still tell that you're slipping away. And trust me, I get it. I'm going to share more about that in a moment. And I talked to my sister many times a week. I try to do it every day, but some days I'm not cognitively present enough to call her. And so we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I'm doing in case it helps. On December 14th, I had a major TBI episode. It was unexpected and blindsided me. Usually I can tell when they're coming on, and I believe it was due to a med adjustment. I am on Aricept, which is experimental for brain injuries, but is normally prescribed for people with dementia or Alzheimer's, and it has helped me immensely. It gave me back my life, and you can go back and look at previous videos about that. But the dosage had changed. They don't make the 5 milligrams anymore. They only make the 10 milligrams, and we tried that. Then we cut back on the 10, and now I'm cutting them in half and have gone back to just the 5 milligrams a day, which is the lowest dosage that you can do. And actually, I guess anymore it's 10 milligrams, but that was just too much for me. The side effects were worse than the cognitive disability. So I've got that ironed out. I feel pretty good about not getting blindsided by TBI episodes anymore. And y'all can see Bandit back there. He's on lead. We've got coyotes in the area that come out during the day even. And even though there's nobody camped around us, I just feel safer keeping him on leads. But just so you know, he is, and he's safe. So I'm 65 and I'm full of life and I have hopes and dreams, but my mind is failing faster than I can keep up. And I just started my 10th book, and I just started the 2nd chapter, and there are things that I want to do with my life. And when your mind starts failing you, it can feel like you're losing your whole life. And what are you going to do? And is it Alzheimer's? Is it worse? Is it am I gonna, is life as I know it starting to decline? And you can focus on that, but I encourage you to also always focus on the positive. Every day I write 10 things in my journal that I am grateful for, and staying centered in that really does help me. The analogy that I'm going to give you today of what's happening with me for my new normal is it's embarrassing to say a little bit, but I am not present for most of what is going on around me anymore. Two analogies I'm going to give you is one, it's your, and I'm just picking an age out of the hat. It could be any age, but the 98-year-old great-great-grandmother that is sitting in her rocker, and here I am rocking, sitting in her rocker at the family gathering. She probably doesn't know the games that the kids are playing. She probably certainly can't keep up with, hang on, my dog's fixing to knock over my tripod. Hey, buddy, can you come over this way? Come, oh, don't trip on the rocks. She probably can't keep up with what they're doing, let alone be able to get down on the floor and play with them. The teenagers, she probably doesn't even know their world. And the adults are having conversations that she probably can't keep up with if she's able to hear them. And we're going to talk about physical things very, very quickly later on. So there's that going on. And if somebody comes and interacts with her one-on-one, she can probably sit there and talk to them all day long. And that is where I'm at. I have been getting there for a couple of years, and I have been fighting, and I'll use that word demonstratively because it's true, fighting tooth and nail to not give in to that. I will be around friends and conversations are going on, and I have been dogged about making sure I understand what are we talking about, what's happening, what's, and if somebody casually mentions something and I can't connect the dots, I have just been like, oh, what, I almost try to make time stop and get them to explain to me, because I have not wanted to go there cognitively to where I don't know what's going on around me. I give up on that, but it's about living life large and acceptance and gratitude. It's not from a place of I'm putting one foot in the grave. It's actually quite the opposite. I have been practicing this for only a very short period of time, and one of the things I learned later in life and was just beginning to really put into practice was you don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to react to everything. You can let 98% of life, just let it go. We joke about on the Reba show, her son-in-law said, I got one word for you, let it go. Clearly it's, oops, he chased the hummingbird off. He's a big bad bee bug hunter. Another reason that I keep him on leash, because I don't trust for him and any dog really. You never know when your dog's going to see a rabbit or want to go after a bird, or they see a coyote and want to go after them. And so I keep him on lead so that he doesn't go chasing something, and he doesn't ever get them. Don't worry. And he never does more than that. It's kind of like a game for them, because he'll come back and play with them. And so, that's kind of what I'm doing, is making a game of it. I went to 2 functions recently. So my last TBI episode on December 14th knocked me out for 2 weeks. I didn't leave camp for 14 days. And that's one of the things that I do for self-care. When I am cognitively challenged and having a hard time, let alone if I know that a TBI episode is imminent, or if I'm just stressed and need some alone time, I don't try to camp with other people. I'm camped with Frugal RV Gal. We travel together. We always will. But that is not the same as being camped with other people. I come out here in the peace and quiet, and I can't have other people in camp, because this is where it's like my respite. It's my peaceful place. It's where I recover. And it has to be quiet. I can't do the noise. So that is one of my tidbits I wanted to give you. But since then, I have gone to a mini meetup and got to be with, there were, I think, about a dozen of us, and we had such a wonderful time. And then yesterday, New Year's Eve, Frugal RV Gal and I met some friends in Parker at the Blue Water Casino and had a wonderful prime rib, shrimp and lobster, salmon buffet. And it was just an awesome time. And 75% of the time, I didn't really know what was going on around me. Now, I had a great time, probably too much of a great time, because I just, first of all, I wore my earplugs, and I talk really, really loud when I have earplugs in, and I forget about that. And at one point, Frugal RV Gals is like, you're yelling. And I looked at another friend. I'm like, am I talking really loud? And she's like, yeah. And so I'm sorry about that. It's kind of like hearing aids, right? If you're wearing hearing aids, sometimes, if you turn them off especially, you can't tell what level your voice is at. So again, it's kind of an aging thing. But for me, with my earplugs in, but I just had a good time, and met so many wonderful people. And there was this one lady, she was giving out $10 bills. She was telling everybody, my husband's losing money, and I told him he's just giving it away. And then it occurred to me, I'll just go give it away too. It was like so crazy, so insane, and she wouldn't take her she stuck it in my shirt, and I took it back out, and she wouldn't take it back, and I ended up giving it to the wait staff, that our waitress that took care of our table. I could have not gone, because I knew with all of the noise and everything that I was going to have to be careful, and I had my headset with me in case I wore it. Or needed to put it on, and it turns out I didn't, and we got back to camp before dark, so it's not like we were out really late. But I took the precautions, and that's something else. You have to learn what works for you and take those precautions. And even if it's being in a mobility scooter or whatever tools you have to use, I just encourage you to do that. It's no fun to walk around with my earplugs in, or at one point it was toward the end of us all being together, and I got up to get another prime rib for me and somebody else at the table, and some shrimp, and I was a little unsteady, and so I looked at my friend Rob and nodded, and he knew I needed him to walk with me, and he walked with me up through the buffet line to get all of that, and just do what you need to do to still live life large. I don't know most of the conversations that went on yesterday, other than the ones where I was having fun and directly involved in. At my meetup, everybody was talking and having a good time, and I I listened as best I could, and if people talked to me, then I was able to interact, but mostly I just was able to be there and glad to be there. And that is the conclusion that I've come to with this new normal of mine, is I don't have to know what's going on. I just know that I'm around people that I love and that love me, and that I can have a good time. And my short-term memory, as we age, it goes, right? I mean, all of us face that. And again, for me, with my brain injury, it's that on steroids. But we all have that in common. I checked in with a couple of my friends the day after. It's like, did we even say goodbye? It's like, because I don't remember. I can't even tell you. I think I just remembered. I started saying I can't even tell you what I ate at the mini meetup, but I just remembered because Frugal RV Gal and I split it. And there are a lot of things that short-term memory is just fading. And I don't know. I would have to go back in the hospital, and I'm not going to do that for the cognitive testing. It's a 2-night stay, 3 days, and I'm just not going to do that. So I don't know what I cognitively test out at anymore. I suspect it's not better than 78, because that's what I was tested at 55. I have my official diagnosis is hippocampal sclerosis. It won't get better. It may or may not get worse. We'll see. I'm out here and still kicking it, so I'm all right and doing well. But I suspect that I test older than 78, and at 65, that's still not something I want to hear. I'd like to cognitively test at 55 or 60, not 15, 20, 25 years older than what I am. But it is what it is. And if I can find tools and I can find ways to let that go and be in acceptance with it, and trust me, it hasn't been an easy process. I even had a counseling session with a professional, because it was a hard blow to realize that I'm going to have to go through life like that 98-year-old in the rocker in the corner. And another example, I told you I'd give you 2 analogies. Bandito. Sorry, guys. I told you I would give you 2 analogies. And the other one is that it's like being in city traffic, which I can't do anymore. But you're in traffic or a large city that you're not familiar with, and you're looking for exits, and you can't find them. You've got a GPS telling you. You can read the street signs, but you pass them, and you have to do turnarounds, and you go to try to find them, and you just get so lost and so disoriented and so upset that you just have to get off the highway. And maybe if you're headed to see a friend or something, they can come get you and guide you in, but it is impossible for you to navigate. Those are the days when I'm just like cognitively stuck. And you may or may not have those. I know that you know what I mean, and I know you can identify with getting lost. The difference is when you're so cognitively impaired that instead of finding your way or eventually getting to your destination, you just have to let that go. You're not going to get there. You're not going to be able to navigate it. And those are the days when I stay home. Those are the days when I don't get to be with people. Those are the days when I have to say, you guys go ahead and have fun, but I'm out. And so it is a balance of learning what you can and can't do. And again, I want to hear from you in the comments below. How are you dealing with aging? If you're a caretaker, how are you handling dealing with somebody that has cognitive disabilities? I mentioned my sister has Alzheimer's, and I call her, and every day's a new day. And Frugal RV Gal jokes that every day with me is a new day. We early on we joked about traveling with me is like traveling with somebody in the movie 50 Blind Dates, because it is a new day. Sometimes I'll come up with a great idea and I'll be like, hey, let's do this, and she's like, yeah, we talked about that, and here's why we decided not to. And she's so patient and kind with walking me through and meeting me wherever I'm at. And if you are a caretaker or close with someone that has cognitive disabilities, do your best to just meet them where they're at. The example is my sister, and then I'm going to wrap this up, but I call her